Hey, in this next video, I'll be addressing a comment in one of my previous videos. It may just be your comment, so stay tuned. All right, hey guys. Hey, I got a letter here from a woman named Julie Johnson on my YouTube channel regarding my video called Storytime, Christian Pastor Rejects Me. Let me read her question. I thought this was a great question, but let me go ahead and read it. It says, can you make a video on what parts of Christianity you now reject? I have been following you for many months now and really respect the stand you took with your now ex-wife and children. But I am confused on the rejection of Christianity. It seems like most of your followers already know what you're talking about. Maybe they go to your church. But help me out here. I'm truly curious what you actually believe now and what you said to this pastor on the phone call. I never heard of a Christian later rejecting Christianity before. You mentioned you still believe in Jesus. Do you believe in the Son of God? Do you believe in him as your Lord and Savior? Please explain your newfound belief in a video for us. All right, Julie, great question. Appreciate the sincerity of your question. Let me give you an answer. If you have ears to hear, you will hear. If you have eyes to see, you will see. And this is not only for you, but for anybody that have those eyes to see and ears to hear. But let me answer your question. Yes, I am a follower of Jesus Christ. You asked the question, do you believe that he is the Son of God? Yes, I do believe that Jesus is the Son of the living God. Do you believe in him as your Lord and Savior? I don't use the word Lord, I use the word master. If you look behind the word, that word that they put in English is also master. So I use the word master. I believe he's my master and Savior. And you wanted to know what I said. I just told the pastor that I keep the commandments of Yah. And I keep the commandments. Christianity do not keep the commandments. Christianity is a religion that teaches you how to hate God and how to hate your neighbor. It's totally opposite from what Jesus taught. And so when you ask me, what do I reject about Christianity? I reject the whole doctrine, the whole teaching of Christianity. Christianity is a religion that teaches you literally how to hate God and how to hate your neighbor. Christianity does not know anything about the Most High. They do not know anything about Jesus. When I was in Christianity, I literally was trying my best to love him. As much as I was trying to love him, I always got discouraged from keeping his commandments. He was saying you're being legalistic. You know, you don't have to do that. You're under the law of grace. You can do what you want. He will forgive you. He's already done it for you. It's impossible to keep the law. I mean, all of the different stories you hear about not keeping the commandment. Christianity tries to keep you bound in iniquity, try to keep you bound and under the curse of breaking his laws, not keeping his commandment, literally just hating him. So let me read something to you here out of 1 John. This is in 1 John chapter 2, verse 3. And it says this. He says, hereby do you know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. And he that saith, I know him, Christians would tell you they know Jesus, and keepeth not his commandment is a liar, and the truth is not in him. So Christianity is a religion of lies. The whole thing. It comes from Constantine. Do your research. Constantine is the one that invented what we call Christianity. It is not anything that you will see in the Bible. I read the Bible in the 16 years that I was a Christian, or 17 years I was a Christian. I read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. I made a habit of reading that all the way. I've read it from cover to cover. I read it chronologically, and I'm telling you, what you read is not what you practice in Christianity. They're two different things, two different focus. In Christianity, it revolves around the believer. When you follow the book, when you follow the Torah, the prophets, the New Testament, when you follow that, everything revolves around Jesus. You see that? In Christianity, it revolves around the believer. And when you're a commandment keeper, it revolves around the person who gives the commandment, which is Jesus, Yah. Everything revolves around him. And so I lived 16 years thinking I was loving Jesus, and the whole time I was hating him. My life revolved more around my wife, making her happy. Happy wife, happy life. And they tell you, if you make your wife happy and she's so happy, she can't help but to submit to you. And so they trick you and deceive you into thinking that loving your wife by making her happy is loving Christ. In reality, it really is hating Christ and putting Satan as the head of that home. When you put the Christ first, the man comes first. The woman is to submit to the husband, and he is to rule over her. And that is when you are in position. That is when you are in position to be about Jesus. And so, Julie, I hate the whole thing. I hate all of Christianity. Christianity is a hateful religion. And let me keep on. It says, and whosoever keepeth his word is the love of God perfected. So when you keep his word, keep his commandments, the love of God is perfected in you. And hereby we know that we are in him. This is how you know that you're in him, if you keep his commandment. And he that says, I abide in him, ought himself also so to walk even as he walked, meaning walk just the way Jesus was about his father business. He kept his father's commandment, and he told us to do the same. He says, as I have kept my father's commandment, you too also keep my commandments. And so Jesus taught us how to love God. He not only gave us instructions, but he also came down here and gave us an example of what it looks like to love the Father. And so Christianity teaches contrary to what Jesus taught. Jesus says, think not that I've come here to destroy the law, but I've come to fulfill the requirements of the law. And so this is why I reject Christianity, and obviously going through the breakup of my family, I learned a lot about Christianity. I mean, I had Catholics involved. I had Presbyterians, Assembly of God, just non-denominational. I had all forms of Christianity involved in the breaking up of my home. And it all came down that I needed to acquiesce and capitulate to a woman who wasn't happy. And that's what they all told me. They told me put more focus on keeping her happy than worrying about keeping the Sabbath. And if you've been watching my thing and been watching my video, when I had that dream and when God told me he didn't love me, he gave me a clue what to look for. And so when I saw John 14:15, Jesus says, if you love me. Let me say that again. If you love me. One more time. If you love me, comma, you will keep my commandments. To show Jesus that I love him is to keep his commandment. Christianity focuses on God loving you. But truly, the Bible teaches us how to love God and how to love his neighbor. That is key. It's automatically assumed that Yah loves us. He chose us first, right? And so we don't need to be reminded how much he loves us. The fact that he sent his only begotten son. He says, for God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, that whoever believes him should not perish but have everlasting life. So we don't need to be taught every time that he loves us. And if you don't feel that he loves you or whatever, it's a good chance that you're not his. I'm just telling you. Now, and you got to look at the word. But the most important is ask not what Jesus can do for you, but ask what you can do for Jesus. And he says, if you love me, if you want to abide in me, keep my commandments. Let me read John chapter 3. Christianity teaches you how to sin. What is sin? I'm about to show you. If the law is done away with, guess what? You're going to be sinning if you're not keeping the commandments. It says, whosoever committed sin transgress also the law. The law is done away with. So if the law is done away with, how do you keep from sinning? For sin is the transgression of the law. And we know that he was manifested to take away our sin, and in him is no sin. There is no sin in Jesus. And whosoever abide in him sinneth not. And whosoever sinneth had not seen him, neither know him. Christianity do not know Jesus because they practice sin. They live in that sin. They teach people to sin. Little children, let no man deceive you. Let no man deceive you. Christianity is going around deceiving people. Jesus even said, he says, in the last days, many will come in my name and say that I am Christ. They will acknowledge. He's talking in the first person. Third person, he says, many will come in my name and say that I'm Christ. Not going around saying, hey, I'm Jesus. No, I'm Jesus. No, you don't see a lot of that. But many will acknowledge that Jesus is the Messiah. and they will deceive many. The number one religion in the world is Christianity. Christianity is the number one religion in the whole wide world. Jesus was talking about be aware of Christianity. That's what he says. How do you know? Because they're the one that say that Jesus Christ is the Messiah, and they're the one that's deceiving many. Not Islam. You can see that from a mile away. Not Buddha, not Hindu, not all these satanic, whatever. Christianity is the religion. There, he says, you will know them by their fruit. They're the one that's the wolf in sheep clothing, right? It says, little children, let no man deceive you. He that doeth righteousness, which means doing what's right in God's eye, and that means keeping his commandment. If you're a commandment keeper, if you guard the commandments of Yah, if you're keeping the commandments of Yah, you are doing what's right in Yah's eye. You are righteous. I'm not making this up. Look what it says. This is 1 John chapter 3, verse 7. It says, and he that doeth righteousness is righteous. He that doeth righteousness is righteous, even as he, meaning Jesus, is righteous. He that committed sin is of the devil. So you see, Christianity is a religion of devils. They're teaching you doctrines of devils. So he said, he that committed sin is of the devil, for the devil sinned from the beginning. For this purpose, the Son of God, you said, Julie, do I believe that Jesus is the Son of God? Yes, I do believe he's the Son of God. Was manifested that he might destroy the works of the devil, which is that to sin. And it says, whosoever is born of God, I am born of God. I have been born again. It says, born of God, do not commit sin. How do you know you're born again? If you're not sinning. If you're continuing to practice sin, it's a good chance you're not born again. Those who are born again do not continue to sin. It says, whosoever is born of God, do not commit sin, for his seed remaineth in him, and he cannot sin. It says, those who are born of God, he cannot sin, meaning transgress the law of Yah. It's hard. Why would you want to do that if you love Jesus? And it says, because he is born of God. Why does he not? He says, he that remaineth in him, and he cannot sin because he's born of God. In this, the little children, the children of God are manifest in the children of the devil. And whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of God. Christianity is not of Yah. They're not. Neither he that love not his brother. If you're not of Yah, you're not going to love God, and you're not going to love your brother. And in Christianity, they teach you how to hate God and hate your neighbor. That's literally the essence of Christianity. Look at the Shabbat. I'll end on this. Look at the Sabbath. How come they're not keeping the Sabbath? The Sabbath has to do with your love for God. The greatest commandment is to love God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul. If you're not keeping the Shabbat, if you're not keeping the seventh day, not the first day, Sunday is the first day of the week. Everybody knows that. Look it up. Go look at a dictionary. The seventh day is literally the Sabbath. That is the Sabbath day. And if you're not keeping that, you are not one of his. That's a good indicator you're not his and you're not born again. So Julie, I hope this answered your question. I'm going to try to do another video and tell you why Christians don't keep the Sabbath, to show you that Christianity is an invention of Constantine, the Roman emperor, back in the 300 AD. And so, but do your own homework. Check my work. Hey, if you guys like this video, please comment. Give me smash the like button, and if you don't, give me a thumbs down. I don't care. And if you disagree with what I'm saying, please show me biblically. I don't care about you be contrary to your opinions, your feelings, or emotions. But if you disagree with what I'm saying, show me in the Word. I'm always open to learn. I haven't attained it all. I'm still growing, still learning. But what I'm saying, I believe it to be true. And if I'm not, hey, check my work. Check my work. I hope this stimulates your thoughts, and I hope that this gets you guys talking here. So anyway, have a good day. Shalom, shalom.